silent, please. That would make it a little easier for all of us. I appreciate that very much. Including us. You ready, Lisa? Okay. You ready, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay. Call to order Hazleton City Council regular meeting Thursday, December 5th, 2013. The time is now 7:15. Please stand for silent meditation followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Bast,
Here.
Mope,
Here.
Mundy,
Here.
Shatter,
Here.
Perry.
Here. Approve minutes of the previous meeting, November 21st, 2013, regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. Proclamations, communications, Lisa?
None.
Okay. Courtesy of the floor, the audience regarding matters on the agenda only. If we can stick to 3 minutes, because of a large number of speakers, we'll do that. We'll just take turns. I'll keep track up here.
Sylvia Thomas from Hazleton. Yesterday, I drove one of my sisters down Alder Street. She doesn't come to our neighborhood very often. There were young men standing in front of businesses, more men than usual. After we passed them, my sister said, "Sylvia, you better not drive down Alder Street anymore." I got angry, and I said, "This is my neighborhood. I'm not going to let them have it." She said, "But they already own it." That affected me quite a bit. It made me feel depressed and beaten. We're stressed out enough. Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I can't believe he's not sitting there. Yes, Mr. Mayor, the people of Hazleton are stressed out enough. You are trying to run this city by threats. Threats like not paying our policemen and women who are dealing with gangs and drug pushers every day, sometimes sacrificing not just their own safety, but the safety of their families. Threats like not paying firemen and women who risk their lives every time the fire engine speeds down the street to save lives and property. Threats to our city workers who keep our city running. Yes, Mr. Mayor, we, the people of Hazleton, are under enough stress without you adding to it. You notified the press about the layoffs before you notified the people who keep this city running and keep it safe. To treat the value of those people with such disregard is inexcusable. The kids of Hazleton are being hooked on drugs, and they'll have to battle that addiction for the rest of their lives. Elderly people are worried they're going to lose their homes they worked for all their lives. People are seeing the value of their properties plummet. That's if they're lucky enough to sell their properties at a low price. Our town needs leadership, not threats. You said in the paper that the city already spent $500,000 on the stormwater-related expenses. You spent that money before the council passes the ordinance? Is that what you call leadership? Just a matter of a few weeks ago, you said Hazleton was in the black. Now you're saying you're going to lay people off and not pay police and fire personnel. Council, I'm asking you to investigate what the city is doing with the money it collects, not just from taxes and fees, but money from grants, police seizures, etc. And Mr. Mayor, I'm going to talk to him like he's there. I'm asking you to change your ways. Don't just be a boss. Be a mayor. I don't want my sister to be right. I don't want the bad guys to own my neighborhood and my hometown. Come to the council meetings. Show the people you do care about them. Change your ways now because I don't think we can take 2 more years of this so-called leadership.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's next? It doesn't matter. Go ahead. We'll just have to form a line, I think.
My name is Helen Jumpeter. I live in Hazleton. I'm going to try to cut this short because there is a crowd here. Actually, I have a suggestion for helping the city get money without incurring layoffs, which will happen if we run out of money. So I'm really going to point 4 for the papers you have. I think the mayor and council ought to consider levying a one-time fee ranging from $10 to $25 on all dwelling units, vacant lots, and vacant land parcels of any size within the city, and refer to this fee as the 214 city tax levied due to exigent financial circumstances. As titled, this tax would be deductible on residents 2014 Schedule A 1040. And under no circumstances would this be a stormwater fee. In order to determine the amount of the tax fee that you would levy, the administration must inform council of all available monies the city holds or can acquire from any and all sources, including those monies soon to be received from prior year's tax bills and similar sources. Then and only then will council be able to determine correctly the legitimate amount of the one-time 2014 city tax levied due to exigent financial circumstances. The administration should prepare the tax fee notices and have the fees become due and payable April 1st, 2014, or at an agreed-upon date by the mayor and council. This action hopefully will alleviate some of the city's financial problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Helen.
Okay, somebody from this side.
Oh, where do I begin? Where is Steve Hahn?
He is busy at this time. He's coming, so he'll be
Because I
here.
had some questions for him. I asked him twice when I was up here if we were in the black. Twice he stated that we were. I have a numerous amount of people that were here at both times. I also asked him, how could we be in the black if there was a $500,000 SOAR tax and also for the timbering? He told me that that was not in the budget. Now, all of a sudden, we're $500,000, and the mayor, who you could see how important this is to him, that he's not even sitting here, which upsets me to no end, because that's a slap in the face to every citizen in Hazleton, says that he's going to lay off city workers. Why don't we lay off all the city department heads? Because if we're going to lay off city workers who depend on that, these guys work hard. They do. We've got police officers out there. We've got city street people that are out there. And the first thing they say, oh, that's a threat. You guys cave to this, then anything the mayor wants, all he has to do is stomp his feet and threaten something. People should vote no on it. Let him find the money. He's the one who puts it. He spent it before he even had it. And I told you this before. It's not a lottery. You keep dipping into the pockets of the taxpayers. We don't have any more to give. You're calling it a fee. It's a tax. It's a way around everything. And we're not going to stand for it anymore. These people are angry. We pay our taxes. We paid our sewer and our water. And we thought that there was maintenance. Not only this administration, but every administration before that screwed up because they didn't maintain. And now we're going to say, oh, well, we'll just go after the taxpayers again. The city's tired of it. Our homeowners are tired of it. I don't want to see people who have to worry about medication or do I have to pay this fee or do I feed my kids or I pay this fee. Most of the people in Hazleton make around $10 an hour. Does he realize that? You can't keep dipping into our pockets. We're done. Say no to this. Don't bend to the pressure because, like I said, it wasn't that important to him that he's not sitting there. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Next.
Dee Deacus, Hazleton. I was looking over all the LSA grants that they were talking about, and the one thing is there wasn't really ones for our city. Now, I went onto the website the state has, and one of the things is that we could ask them for paving streets, and it doesn't even have to be in the same neighborhood because they said you're paving several streets, some on the north side, some on the west side. They could be all in one paving application. And looking at previous grants that they gave, they did that. You can renovate a municipal building, which I think we're trying to do. And you can also get municipal vehicle applications. They cited police car, salt spreader, dump truck, and what have you. So I looked at previous grants that was advertised in the paper, and I did see we got a bucket truck and a sidewalk sweeper for $128. And that was it. But I noticed that Butler Township got $150,000 to repair their road. Plymouth Township got $375,000 to repair their roads, catch basins, and drainage. And so what's happening is, okay, one of the things is we're talking about the sewer fee, and I'm going, why didn't we apply for these grants to begin with for our sewer? And the same thing, we talk about how we don't have police cars and we had to borrow all this money. Why didn't we apply for police cars? Other municipalities got them. And what's happening is I don't want to see 400 and some thousand go to entertainment, which is what a Little League is. And I'm not saying the Little League is not a nice organization, but we've given to Little League over the years. And they seem to be the only sports organization that we seem to be giving anything to. And I'm saying, why aren't we giving this to our citizens? How many kids play Little League? 200? And yet we have 25,000 people here, and we should be going projects that will affect more people. I wonder what 400,000 would do for all the potholes that we have on our roads. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Good evening. My name is Lou Rossi. I'm a city resident. I am here speaking on behalf of the All-American Girls Softball Association. I've been a member of that organization for over 10 years. I've been a manager, a coach, and officer in that organization. Right now I'm asking City Council to have some consideration and an affirmative vote for our soon-to-be-received application for an LSA grant so that we may make much-needed improvements to the city's North Gate Recreation Complex. We would appreciate the consideration to help us make more improvements on top of the ones we were able to do last year. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
How you doing? My name's Scott Burkhart. I'm representing the Hazleton Little League as a board member. The Hazleton Little League's applying for a grant to pay extensive renovations to the baseball complex. We have over 300 and some, I think there's 325 children there. With many of these children wouldn't have anything to do in the summertime. They would be out on the streets, getting in trouble. Parents are up there, they're involved. Families are involved. It's really a great thing for the city. We also have a challengers division with handicapped children, which we're the only one in the area that has this facilities for that. We're expanding, we're constantly growing. We need the money for renovations of our lower fields, which continually get washed away. That's what the grant's for. That's what is that we're trying to get this LSA money for. We're working with the Can Do Foundation. We have plans. We have everything in line. And from what I understand is this money does not go to the Little League and not to the city. the city needs to apply for their own grant, and they did get fire trucks, they did get stuff like that. We did this on our own with the help of many people, not the city employees. No tax dollars were spent on applying for this grant. So if we're not taking money away from the city, we're just asking for the city to be our administrator for this grant. So I'd like everyone just to understand and take that into consideration when you vote on it. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Greg Buddy, Hazleton. I want to talk about the stormwater fee. I know a lot of people, Sylvia Thomas has said this young lady brought some good ideas to the table, okay? I'm not even going to sit there and say, it's the mayor's fault or whose fault it is, but it has to be resolved, okay? You don't want a stormwater fee, find other ways, okay? City Council has had a whole year to get this resolved, okay? It should not take a year, okay? This is why nothing gets done in this town. Everybody wants to sit and drag their ass, okay? It's got to stop, okay? That's it. That's all I'm asking you to do. You don't want the stormwater fee? Fine, but find a way to get the money. There are other ways, okay? As far as the resolution for the Little League, okay, I think that should be passed. For the simple fact, like the gentleman was saying, there's nothing for kids to do in this town, okay? And that's why Sylvia's talking about the drugs. That's why they go to drugs. They join gangs. That's the only thing they could do, okay? The potholes, okay? You got to take care of the kids first, okay? Work on the potholes. Get them something to do. Get them involved, volunteering. Get them into sports, okay? And then you'll get this town cleaned up. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. You want to go, George?
Hi, I'm George Hayden. I'm here representing the DHD Development Company, which is renovating the present Traders building as we speak. And I just want to thank you for all the support of the city. We're looking for an additional LSA grant today for the H&B building. We're going to be renovating that next. Great things are happening for Hazleton. And we're on the verge of making some big things happen. And with your support, it's going to be an exciting project. We have been very successful in filling our present Markle building, the Hayden Tower, at this point. And as you know, we have a tenant in the Traders building that's going to be bringing about 160 plus jobs. And now we're looking forward with all the exciting things going on with the Hazleton Healthcare and with the new Lehigh Valley Hospital coming in. We're looking forward to renovate the H&B building so that we can go ahead and get some offices for the new doctors that are moving into the area. So we're really excited about all the great things that are happening in Hazleton, and thank you for your support.
Thanks, George.
I have a question, George. Does the grant have any stipulations about employment or anything in it, the LSA grants?
I think it does in some cases for all of the grants, and we will be bringing new jobs to our city, as we have in the past.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, George. Anyone else? Robert?
Hi, my name is Mary Ann Fino. I'm President and CEO of Pathway Recovery, Counseling and Educational Services, formerly Serena Gardens, and we're asking for approval for the LSA grant to refurbish the second floor of the building that we just recently acquired, the old M&T building that's been vacant for several years. What we're asking to do is add group rooms on the second floor in addition to an elevator, because our handicapped individuals have no access to the second floor at this time. And we're hoping with this expansion that we're going to be able to add new services, including co-occurring, which is mental health counseling at our agency, which will expand what we do today as far as alleviating the drug and alcohol problem in the area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else?
Thank you, gentlemen, council. I'm Ludwig A. Mangini. I've been a long-time resident of this community, other than the few years that I spent in the service. A lot of years I know your fathers. I've been in this town. This town is a great town, and it still is a great town. We have too much negativism going on in this town, and it has to do. But I became very happy. We have volunteerism, Little League, girls softball. That's what makes a community, along with good government. I'm very disappointed that the mayor isn't here. I know him personally, not really personally. I knew his father. I worked with his father on construction sites. People in this town have a negative attitude. I'm not saying that government needs money, but the problem with government is inherent. The more you get, the more you spend. You got to start running a business. If it's not profitable, you don't do it. If it's profitable and the bottom line does it, you could do it without government money. I've done it all my life. And we have to start reforming government to do for the people what the people can't do for themselves. All this other stuff is not government's business. Now, storm sewer has been around for years. I don't think none of us have any control over rain. Mother Nature has its course. All the previous councils took care of that without having to come in and assess extra money to people who live in this community, who have spent their whole life living in this community, have only their homes to live here and don't have no other place to go, and they are going to keep on paying taxes? No, because that makes the cost of the community unabsorbable for them to live. Three things local government has a responsibility of doing. One is to provide a safe environment. Sure, a lot of people say things aren't safe. Well, okay, my size may make a difference, but my health does not. I've walked on any street in this town, not very far, because I don't have the ability I have. This town is as safe as most other towns its size, and a lot safer than some places. And our police department is doing a job that they can be proud of. There's always room for improvement, but they are doing a job that they can be proud of. Our city workers are doing a fantastic job. They know their job. I deal with them every once in a while. They know their job, and they do it. Using a threat of laying off people, especially on a holiday season, that's dysentery to their... I mean, where do you expect to get any productivity? Where do you expect to get any loyalty? Government got to stop playing games. I mean, we got Congress, which is that 10-year-old playground where these guys can't agree with one another. They just won't agree. Why? Because of their own personal egos. When you get elected to political office, your egos go out the door for the community. There's three things you are responsible for doing as being local. One is to provide a safe environment. Two is to provide a livable area, economically affordable for them. And three, a desire for them to live here. And start trying to get more volunteerism together. Years ago, we had a lot of volunteer fire company, assistant, we had civil defense, junior league. That will keep a lot of the kids from getting into drugs. And I mean, we do have a drug problem. So the rest of the world have a drug problem. But that's what I have to say to council. I mean, I'm encouraged to see citizens willing to take an effort, but there's 25,000 citizens in this community. Well, let's all 25 start saying, what did we do to improve our community today? Ask yourself that question every single day, because it's not only their job, it's our job. We live in this town. We want to have pride in this town. We have to work for it. And young kids today, Twitter. You did something good. You helped a neighbor. Twitter it. I mean, I'm not a Twitterer, but... I mean, let's start getting people back involved in the community. Don't separate. You gentlemen have to talk and communicate with one another. If you don't, get out of the job. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, at this time we'll have a little presentation by Robin from Benetcon.
I'll introduce Robin. My name is Joe. My name is Joe Pill. I'm with ETA Benefits. We have offices in Tamaqua and Nesquehoning, and with me is Denise Wolf. She's one of my associates, and Robin from Benetcon. We're here just to look for your support and ask for your support as we continue to work with the city We manage Blue Cross Blue Shield plans for many employers, primarily municipalities, small, mid-sized businesses in the region. And Robin's, our partnership with Robin and Benecon is to put together a consortium program to provide some relief to the city. So I'm going to ask Robin just to say a few words.
Good evening. Thank you for your time this evening. My name is Robin Richardson, and I'm a senior consultant with Benecon. Benecon is the administrator of the Pennsylvania Municipal Health Insurance Cooperative. What the cooperative does is allow municipal entities to join together to provide their health insurance benefits to their employees in a self-funded arrangement without the risk of self-funding. I realize you have a very full agenda this evening, so I'm just going to hit a few highlights from this sheet. The biggest one being the way that you save money by being a member of the health insurance cooperative is to keep most of the money in-house, owned by the city, and when it isn't needed to pay claims, it's returned to the city. And there's less administrative costs in this type of arrangement. So more of the city's money can go to pay for claims and provide benefits, and less money is going for overhead, premium taxes, and things like that. The second big issue is the fact that the benefit plan designs will match the existing Blue Cross plan designs. So basically, we have a partnership with Blue Cross in this area, and the benefit plan designs just roll over. So none of your benefit plan designs would change, the network would not change, the employees still have their Blue Cross ID cards. There's a lot more transparency in this model, this financing model. You get a little bit more information on what's actually happening with the city's money, where it's being spent, what kind of claims are happening. And then when you have that information, we can work with the city to help mitigate and reduce health insurance expense moving forward. We also provide protection to the city's money in case you have large claims or lots of claims activity. And that, again, that's outlined on this sheet. This sheet with all the colored boxes is just a membership list of all the current 210 members of the Pennsylvania Municipal Health Insurance Cooperative. If you quickly want to look for your nearby colleagues, you would look under the purple box labeled Northeast Pennsylvania Region. There you will see all of the co-op members of various sizes that we have in the region similar to where we are today. While they're broken down into different regions, they're all part of the Pennsylvania Municipal Health Insurance Cooperative. They're all going to the marketplace and giving you the power of purchasing and allowing you to self-fund benefits. Finally, this sheet with all the different lines on it is a performance report for our members for the 2012 year. And if you just go to the column on the far right, you will see all of the surplus monies that were returned to the participating health cooperative members for 2012, totaling over $13 million. So we just are hopeful that we might have an opportunity to provide a proposal for the health cooperative to this city. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. Is it a problem with the unions?
No, the benefits would roll over exactly as they're established now. So all of the benefit plan designs that are...
Wouldn't change.
They would not change. You would be under no issues with your union and your contracts.
So that's a non-issue?
It's a non-issue.
Okay.
And Robin, you would be administering the whole operation. That would run through Benecon?
Right. We are the general administrator, and then we'd be working with the local presidents through Joe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a deficit, who's responsible for paying that? Is that the municipality?
No, the deficits are offset by the other cooperative members.
Okay.
So at any given time, if the city would end up with a deficit in their claim fund, so to speak, they would get help from their other members. Conversely, if the city has a surplus, then they will pledge maximum 15%, which is under the bullet point protection. It's capped. That would be your worst case. So as you move throughout the year and you see that surplus building, the city would always know that their maximum liability to help out their neighbors is capped at 15%. They're not at any time putting their entire surplus on the line to help out their neighbors. Generally, we use about 1/3 of the pledge cross share.
Now, there's no cost to the city for this at all? Look, what is the cost? There's no cost.
There's no cost other than you're paying your monthly premium, the same as you do now. You're just paying it to the cooperative. At the end of the year, then we reconcile. If you have a surplus, you get the money back, less helping your neighbors. And if you're in a deficit, your neighbors will help you out.
Very good.
Do many people dropped out of it, or how long have some of the members?
No, we had 6 members leave since 1991, and 2 came back.
And your total membership?
In the Pennsylvania cooperative is 210 municipal members.
Are you only in Pennsylvania?
We are in Maryland as well. In 2010, we started a co-op for Maryland government entities. We also have a school district cooperative and a county cooperative.
I see here Williamsport has like $500,000. That's a pretty hefty.
Yeah, Williamsport surplus for 2012 was $550,000.
So that goes right back to the...
Right, we just cut a check and you can do with it what you want.
Why do you feel that your services provide the best benefit for city of Hazleton?
Well, you're moving from a fully insured arrangement where all of the city's money goes to Blue Cross and they benefit from the years that you do good into a self-funded arrangement where we just send a very small portion of what the city pays each month to Blue Cross to give your employees the network, the benefit plan design, but you're retaining the claims money. And so when you have a good year, which you will, you benefit instead of the carrier.
And being self-funded gives you a lot more maneuverability and
It
options.
does give you a lot more flexibility as long as Blue Cross can administer whatever plan design you want in their system. You're in the driver's seat going forward, which is helpful maybe at negotiation when you maybe have to very quickly make some changes. We don't give you canned plan designs unless you want them.
If you change healthcare carriers, does that affect anything?
We have a partnership with Blue Cross up here, so we would maintain that partnership and we negotiate contracts with them.
Okay.
How about, have you talked to the HCA, the Water Department, or the Sewer Authority?
I have not, no.
We've talked to them in prior years, but not about the program. But now that we're aware that it's also available for water authorities or sewer authorities, we have discussed approaching them. Primarily school districts, small boroughs, townships, Tamaqua, Lehighton, primarily in the southern.
What about the Hazleton School
There is
District?
the school district cooperative is a relatively new. Jim Thorpe and Lehighton just went in last July. We talked about it with Hazleton. It's a little more difficult with schools because it's new. The municipality cooperative, I believe, has been around since early 90s.
1991.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
If I could just mention that I've had a number of meetings with Robin or their representatives and a number of phone calls on some of the things, so we saw more detailed presentations, and it seemed like this was something that may very well be worth pursuing. The city spends about $1.2 million in health care benefits for the employees. It's a big sum of money. I'm not sure what management there has been over that the healthcare costs particularly, other than maybe we get bills from Blue Cross Blue Shield and we pay them, but this is a group that would be managing the cost to try to have us pay the lowest cost possible in a cooperative arrangement. As Robin mentioned, Blue Cross would keep that. If we pay them $1.2 million, they pay $1 million out in claims, they keep the $200,000, where in this situation that would remain in a pool or be able to be refunded back to the city. And it seemed like a way that the city could recoup some of the costs that we're spending now. And I didn't want to pursue anything any further because it would go to a more involved stage unless council was on board to move to that
I have
next
one
stage.
quick question. How have the rates been since the last 5 years?
The rates in the cooperative?
Yeah.
As far as, well, the average renewal rate is usually between, it depends on if we have healthcare reform issues involved in the rate-making process. So I would think it'd be fair to say between 5% and 8% is the average renewal.
Now, is the Affordable Care Act going to affect this right now?
It does affect it to the extent that we have to make sure the coverages are in compliance as far as preventative care and things like that, and pediatric. But the other aspects of healthcare reform, some of them do not apply, and then others we don't have as much, like for example, we don't have as much healthcare insurance tax because we are self-funded. So there's the financing side of healthcare reform. As far as, is this going to be a bad place for the city to be with healthcare reform? And actually it would be a better place because you're controlling expense through the self-funded mechanism.
The city's plans renew currently July 1st is the renewal date, so it's still too early to know what the increases may be. So we had been talking with Robin and their folks about trying to make the renewal date January 1st so that we'd be able to budget properly for the whole upcoming year what those costs might be. But their process may take a few months. If the decision was made to implement that, there'd have to be some votes from council to approve moving into the cooperative. But it is such that the changes in the, we could enter that program at any time, maybe 3 months in advance or 4 months down the road. So it's something that even though it's the end of the year and start of a budget year, this is a change that could be made pretty much at any month, probably after 3 or 4 months.
So, Steve, what is needed? Our vote is needed to proceed in this?
I guess there's additional things. They would present a proposal that would need to be voted on. It's a different approach to funding health care that may not, I mean, it takes some explaining and understanding to know what that is. You're joining a cooperative, you're a member of that, maybe exiting that program if you wanted to go back to a different situation. I'm not sure how getting out of that, how easy it is, but there are things that I thought council needed to look at before we pursue and use any more time on it, but it is potentially a good way to be able to recoup some funds.
And you actually join the co-op via an ordinance or resolution, depending what your solicitor's comfortable with, and there's a trust agreement.
You're in Sugarloaf Township. How long are you there?
Sugarloaf?
Yeah.
They were one of our initial members, so that would have been 2008.
2008.
In this area. The co-op model itself, we've been doing co-op since 1991, but we came into this area after working with Blue Cross in 2008.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for your time. I
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you.
So I don't know what the next thing would be, is if there's interest in pursuing that, I guess.
We can get the copy of the resolution if you want a copy of that. I believe we can get that to you for review by solicitor. If we're looking February, March, April timeframe as far as to get in, I think you just want to look over the agreement to join the cooperative.
Now, I believe that the costs going out for this year wouldn't be any different, so it's not like there would be instantaneous savings to the city. We'd basically be paying the same premiums that are paid now, but the potential or the plus side is that there
It's down the road.
could be some substantial refunds. I think Sugarloaf has done extremely well with this program over the years, is what it looks like. But
If you're healthy and lucky.
They've been lucky. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Before we make old business, I want to make a motion to amend the order of business, the agenda. And I'd like to go right to Resolution 2013-109 first, since that is, people are waiting for the resolution establishing a stormwater collection and management fee. So I'm making a motion to amend the order of business.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second. Followed by the budget. I guess we can do that next then. All right. Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes. Approved, 5-0. We'll start with,
What would the reason be for this?
we want to the order, just start it with that one. That seems to be the one we want to get out of the way first. That's all, no particular reason. Okay. So this is a new business resolution, 2013-109, a resolution establishing a stormwater collection and management plan fee for the year 2013, only in accordance with the ordinance 2013 entitled an ordinance of the City of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, establishing a stormwater collection and management plan. Okay. I'll present.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Bass seconds. On the question. I think there is some other examples on here, Mike.
Mr. President,
Yes.
there is a package of information that shows some typical properties in the city and what the rates may be within a range for those properties. They were put together by Mr. Yanuzzi is here, I believe, to answer any specific questions about that. But it gives some ideas of some of the typical residential properties, what the charges would be, and some of the commercial and/or industrial properties as well. The main thing that would be pointed out there is that this ordinance would apply to all properties in the city, including properties that now are not paying property tax, for instance, if they're tax exempt. So this still would apply to them, and they would have to pay this fee. Some of the structures there obviously would be paying proportionally a good deal more than a residential type situation. But
So this includes the reclaimed land, or the reclaimed land?
Yes.
Also?
yes, that's the acreage. I think is at $5 per acre for just rough acreage. I think that Mr. Yanuzzi could.
Okay. So Dominic, for this, if you have a 32 by 200 acre lot, so if it's 35% cover, then it would be $26.25, and if it would be 40%, if there's 40% covered, it would be $30. Is that how it's? Am I reading this?
Yes, depending upon what zoning district you're in, yes.
If you're in a residential zone.
Well, there's an R1 is 35%, R2 is 40%.
Oh, okay. So it's whatever zone you're in that's what what you would pay. And if you had a 16 by 200, if you have a half a double and it's 16 by 200, then it's $13 or $15. And if it's I guess the next one up then is if you have like a 16 by 100 foot, if you have a half a double and it only goes halfway back to an alley, say that's what that would be in the city, it would be $7.69.
Yes.
Okay.
Dominic, this map number 1, is that a picture of what section of town?
We call that the terrace section from, let's say, Mill Street up to Hop Street,
Okay.
along Broad Street.
That's Broad Street running right down the center.
Be on the south side of Broad Street.
I just have a question.
Sure.
Steve, is this, the fees for this are in the budget for next year?
Yes.
You have that allocated, okay.
It was put in there because there's an ordinance in place, so it was,
But this is only included for this year.
that's what it says, yes.
Yeah, you're just passing it for this year.
I guess that's what they wanted. I don't know.
Is that,
It looks like that's what they're
To
asking
give
for.
you the freedom to decide what to do for next year.
yeah, but it's already in the budget for next year.
Yeah, well, you can come up with a fee, whatever you think this is appropriate, you can continue it, I guess. I would think that's... Dominic, I just had a question.
I didn't put the 20.
This fee originally started out as $50. An EIU unit, what is that?
40, it was originally an estimate
ERU,
was put out
yeah.
at 40 per ERU, equivalent runoff unit, yes.
Now we're down to half that amount. Okay.
Okay. Chris, I have a question for you. For this to be applied to next year's budget, should it be for the fee for the 2014 only, or should it be 2013 only, as it reads if you have a copy of the ordinance?
I do. I think what Steve was saying earlier, I'm not sure that it much matters. That's up to council. I think what Steve was saying earlier was because you've got an ordinance in place already that provides for the provision of a fee, that's what they were relying upon for the placement in next year's budget. If council wants to change that year to reflect
Chris, I can't hear you.
You have the microphone.
if council wishes to change that date to reflect 2014, then certainly that's something that council can do that. I don't know that it much matters though, Keith, technically.
Okay, so it doesn't,
Yeah.
Well, who decided to put just 13 in the 1 year? Who
I
decided that?
I actually asked that, well, since it was new, I put that in.
It was your idea,
My idea, yep.
or John Keegan's?
Maybe it was Dick Amon's. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Okay,
Jack,
I just
I didn't
wanted
want
to
to
check.
strap you with this. You want to slit your wrist if we pass this thing, so I'm
That's
letting
okay.
you make the
I just wanted to
decision.
know who came up with the idea.
I said, why should we give?
Just so you take
I
credit
don't want
for
to.
it.
I don't want to. Handcuff you for next year. You can take it out.
you could
You can
take credit
find a
for it.
$500,000 and take it out.
So it doesn't matter, and this would be applied to next year. Is that how it would be?
Yeah.
No matter what it says, 2013 or 2014.
Well, you're
Well,
if
it
it's
wouldn't
This money is covering 2013.
Yeah,
Okay, so
as
it's
written,
deficit.
it's covering 2013.
Okay, but it
for
won't be-
purposes of the budget discussion, I don't think it much matters if it says
Okay.
13, 14, or 15.
Okay.
Because there's an ordinance in place that allows for a fee, so that administration
Okay.
can pick a fee that they think is appropriate and plug it into that budget.
Okay.
This wouldn't automatically go into play. I mean, it has to come in front of council for
Right.
2014.
Correct.
Yes, that's exactly why I did it. You can make your decision.
According to the way this was written, it would have to be returned. If it had no date in it, it would just apply until it was changed.
So in other words, this would still apply 2014 if there's no date in? Is this what you're saying?
I mean, if a fee is put in an ordinance that said the fee for violating a parking or something is $25, that would stay in effect until it
But
was
because this
changed.
has a date in
But
it,
this,
now it
this,
has to.
this would specifically just says it's for 13 only, so I would assume that
Thank
from
you.
that.
Yeah, that's the way it's written.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call.
Hold on 1 minute.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Okay. Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
No.
Mundy,
No.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes, pass 3-2. We can jump to, we're going to move to ordinances, new business, ordinance 2013-28. 2013-28.
2013, 28.
I don't know what this is. Revenue expenses.
Mr. President, I'm sorry
Yes.
that I just handed out a one-page was for the debt service fund. That's our fund number 23 for the budget year 2014. That was not included with any documents that were submitted previously to anyone in it.
Oh, okay.
I would ask that that be attached to the other budget documents.
Okay.
Ordinance 2013-28, an ordinance providing for the appropriation of specific amounts of estimated as required for various departments of the government of the city of Hazleton. And this is the budget. Is that correct, Steve? 2013-28.
Yes.
Okay. All right. This is a first reading of the 2014 budget. I'll present.
I'll second.
Mr. Bass seconds. On the question. I would like to amend the budget for 2014, and I would like to use the fund balance that was collected through the commercial sewer transmittal fee, approximately $450,000, and apply it to sewer bonds. By applying it to sewer bonds, we'll reduce our debt service by 0.45 mils, which would be a significant reduction of city taxes for all residents. If you have a $100,000 house, your assessed value would drop by $45 for the next year, okay? With that in mind, next year's council can decide to keep the fee the same as this year and hire 4 more police. But I'll leave that up to them to make that decision, okay? Okay? All right? Excuse me, this is not, you're out. Okay. This is our meeting, sorry. Okay? So I want to make again, amend the budget to move the commercial sewer transmittal fee and
Chris,
to pay our
don't
sewer
you have to pass
bonds.
the budget before you can amend it? How are you amending a budget that isn't even passed yet?
Amending the mayor's budget is what I'm doing, like we did last year.
What-
Yeah, I'm not, what are you asking, Jack? I think what he's proposing is if you had an ordinance on the floor that hadn't been passed yet, hadn't been acted upon,
You can't amend something that isn't passed.
Yes, we did.
Well, if you present a resolution before it's passed, council has the opportunity to make changes to that before its passage, right?
Yeah, but this is the budget.
I
The budget,
understand.
You know, you're allowed to amend the budget after it's passed.
Council
You can
can,
do that
yes.
to February.
Well, I'm amending the mayor's budget. I don't like it. I'm doing something about it.
Did you talk, Steve? Did you run this
Is it
past
legal,
Steve,
Chris?
or- Steve,
I asked Chris.
Yes.
what do you think about this, sir? Is
What-
this the first you're hearing about this?
Well, I can tell you now, but I can tell you, Kevin and I met with the solicitor, the auditor, and Steve for a couple hours, when there were only two that actually met, about the budget, and we came up with this idea.
Keegan, too.
Okay?
Keegan was in the meeting.
I think
Yeah.
you got to
What?
see
Do you
Dr.
have-
Phil
do you have
because you got a
some kind of
personality
hearing with
issue.
him? Keegan was in the
This
meeting,
is
too.
how you deflect answers. This is what we're trying to save the city money, and you don't want to do it. I'm saving the people $45.
I think you're trying to screw the city.
$45.
Explain that.
$45.
Because you're a crybaby.
I'm saving you.
You're a crybaby.
Okay? This is Jack's answer. Here you go.
Explain what
Jack's
he
answer
wants to
is
do.
John Keegan, like
There you go.
everything else.
Explain
All right.
explain what we're doing.
Could you guys tell me if I'm right or not? Can I do this?
I don't think you can amend the budget that hasn't been passed yet.
I understand your point. I think what he's proposing is an amended budget for passage and action, and if the mayor is objecting to that, then I guess we'll readdress it. I guess he's proposing an amendment to the mayor's budget. Let council take action on it, and then we'll see if the mayor has an objection to it.
Excuse me, but this is the first we're hearing of this amendment, so could somebody give us an explanation of exactly what he wants to do?
Why don't you have Mr.
here you go.
Moore address it?
What it sounds like is that there's money in the sewer transmission fee fund that has been collected, and it sounds as if they're wanting to apply that to the debt fund to pay off some bonds is what it sounds like. Now, whether that's a use for those funds or if that's
Well,
appropriate.
Chris, is it legal to do that?
I have a question for Chris.
All right.
Lester,
Well,
please.
I'm asking him, is it legal for us, again, this is sewer
Mr.
transmittal fee, we're appropriating it, applying it to sewer bonds. Why wouldn't it? Why should we charge the public money when this money's sitting over here, doing nothing?
I'm sorry. That's
Go
why I
ahead.
was going to suggest you let Mr. Moore speak briefly, because I think that's his recommendation as well. If council wants to entertain him at this point, that's up to council.
You know, I think that it's really important as we sat down.
No, but we don't even have the audit
I'm
yet. Why are
talking.
you even
I'm
coming
talking.
up here?
Can I
We don't
talk?
have the
I can't
2005
talk.
audit.
Please respect the
I can't
people
talk.
that are coming,
Why are
Jack.
you
You're
coming
showing
up
your
here?
true colors, because we want them.
I can't
We
talk.
don't even have the audit yet.
I can't even say anything.
The audit's not done because I don't have all the information to complete the audit, Jack.
Why
And we
is
can't
that?
make our decisions without an audit.
I heard that
audit.
last year.
We shouldn't
Go
even be passing this budget without the audit.
Well, if I had the information, I'd be able to complete that. I cannot help it that someone passed away and was unable to provide me all the information to complete the community development
Steve
portion
told
of
me you
it.
got that information.
No, I
recently.
did not. I do not have the
That not
information
true?
to
You told
complete
me
the
you
community
got the
development
information?
portion of it.
There's fixed asset information that they have that would apply to the general fund, and there's community development money that Mr. Kishel audits, whether that impacts general fund or not.
So I do not have that information. Once it is given to me, I will be able to complete it. I can't do anything about that. I spoke to Annetta Williams about that yesterday, and she is working on the transition of that information right now. She's hoping to get more information and to figure out where it stood. We weren't planning on Al Kishel passing away, and it's just sort of left in limbo right now. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about that because I have no control over how she gets the information completed.
I agree you have no control over somebody passing away, but we didn't get the 2011 audit until 2013, all right? We've been behind on our audits.
You always
and
have been.
Yes, and that's unacceptable. And we've been working in the blind. And
We're dealing with this issue right
wait,
now.
I had questions out
But
to
that's
you,
nothing to do with
which
the
I
audit.
didn't receive. Now, you have the opportunity to speak with them. I understand we can't violate a sunshine law, but if you were
Could have went on your own.
afforded the opportunity, then we should have been afforded the opportunity that he was in and had a meeting with him as well.
I asked
I
for
called.
it. We called.
I called him. I basically called him.
Could have done that, too.
People's jobs and livelihoods were at stake, and I wanted to see where we are. Playing this out in the papers isn't getting anything solved. I wanted to go to the... I wanted to go and talk to this. I guess I can't talk now. I guess I can't talk again. Why can't I talk?
Jack, let him
You
speak.
wanted to
Let
leave
him
everything
speak.
to next year.
Let him speak.
You said you wanted to
Now,
make the decision
Let him
next
speak.
year.
I want to say something.
Wait,
about
he's
this.
not done. He is not done.
Go ahead.
Finish. You brought Robert up here. Go ahead. Finish.
I mean, I'm trying to say, I went to the administration to ask them where we were in terms of our finances and where the issues were. That's all I was doing. By just responding to complaints or, questions that people had in the public wasn't going to get us solved until we went to the people who are directly involved with this on a daily basis. And that's what I thought was the appropriate thing to do. And so that's what I did. I thought that using this money toward the stormwater sewer fee might be appropriate, but in this case, residents are going to see a lower rate, a lower millage on their taxes.
Okay. Now, may I say something, please?
Sure.
Number one, if you're concerned about the sewer fund, all right, we brought in $1,145,731. There was transfers out of that fund, which did not come in front of council. We did not approve any of the spending, number one. We had, according to November 1st, 600, I'll give you the number. 600, no, that's the first. Hang on.
Roughly 500,000.
$647,000 and $632 left. I had an email from Steve Hahn that said we had $245,000, and then it was corrected with $425,000. All right. That's the money that was in the fund. We were now put in a position where we were going to lay off our workers in this city due to the fact that we didn't have any money, and we had to pass a stormwater fee in order to enable us to have money to borrow on so that we could get tax anticipation money that we didn't know was there or we were going to collect. It was an unsure amount. Weren't sure we were going to collect that money for storm. This money we had on hand, and this money could have been borrowed off of so that we didn't have to face a layoff or threaten our people at Christmas time. If you were so concerned about our sewer fee, why weren't you keeping an eye on it all year? And why were you not making sure transfers were not done without coming to council?
First of all, sewer water is for sewage, storm is for storm. They can't be mixed. We can't take that money and pave the roads with it.
And
if we can let Robert speak and
we could
explain
have
that.
borrowed off of it.
The money
Borrow
that
ourselves from ourselves.
is on the report that you're referring to, Gene, the $1,145,000 includes a beginning balance of $738,550.34.
Yes, it does.
Which is not monies collected. That's rolling forward from the prior
rolling
year.
from a previous year.
Yeah,
but
so
when it all said and done, at the end, when that was done, and we're not even done making all our things, we had over $1 million in there.
and these amounts that are recorded as showing as current year revenues on the city's books are not actual current revenues for the year. They are cash collections that came in, but my proposal to...
They came in due to the fact that Don Wilkinson did not collect our commercial fees for a few years, plus we collected delinquents. And I know we brought in over $400,000 because I brought that to Steve Hahn's attention to do the collections.
You did collect correct, the actual collections to date are $428,250.
That's right.
And what needs to happen for proper accounting of it is actually these amounts have to go back into 2012's financial statements. So I'm making the entries to correct where they're posted right now.
The 700,000 would go into the 2012 because that's where it came from, and
Yes.
that was carried over.
The sewer use,
But the 400,000 was not carried over. That was new revenue that was brought in.
it's new revenue, but they were recognized as deferred revenue at that time. So there's a proper accounting treatment that needs to happen with that on the financial statements. You'll see how it will all play out as a journal entry.
Yes, but now explain to me how the money was transferred out without coming in front of council.
And that is, it should come in front of council. That is in the third-class city code that transfers out.
So how are you going to address that in the audit?
It will
Because
be-
a lot of times those things aren't addressed in the
It
audit.
was in my management letter last year, and it will be again this year since it hasn't been corrected that transfers are to come in front of council as I mentioned last year.
And so when you put that in your letter, all right, what happens? Is it
The
still
admi-
ignored?
Well, the administration is supposed to come back to me with a reply as to what they have done to correct that.
And have they?
Thus far, obviously they have not, since transfers are taking place that are not.
In front of council. Therefore, the council does not know where the money is. That's why we're having a problem with the budget. That's why it's taking you so long to complete an audit. Basically,
No.
yes, you had a sick person, but we're having, all of us, a difficult time trying to follow the money.
Yes, and I've worked, in addition to that, I have worked with Steve on the numerous changes to the general ledger to improve the way things look, because up until 2013, I agree with everyone. It was impossible to follow where things were going on the general ledger. Numbers were netted, things were moved around all over the creation. You could not tell what was in number. So
But they've been improved since then.
things have been improved, and there are still things that have to be improved going forward. So it's a work in progress that I think you'll see more changes into 2014, and it was a lot of stuff to work out that no one was making those changes, and no one was also giving the suggestions to make those changes. So
Now, Bob,
Yes.
one thing I would like to ask you, he wants to amend the budget. We have the time from now, once the budget is passed, until February. We would like an explanation of what he's talking about, and we would like the same consideration so that we can make an informative vote and not be put on the spot right now.
I will sit down whenever you'd like.
Thank you.
At any time, we could sit down and go over
Robert,
exactly where that
okay,
is.
there is $450,000 sewage transmittal fee.
That is correct.
And that's sitting idle because we no longer own the sewers.
Correct.
So in speaking with our solicitor, he said that my proposal would be valid because it is used for a specific sewer-related
My
problem.
concern
Yes.
with the money, and I discussed it with the solicitor, was that those funds were collected for the sewer system.
Now,
Well, let him
excuse me.
finish, please. Go ahead and finish. Go
My
ahead.
question is,
Jeannie.
if they were going to use the stormwater money to use as collateral, so to speak, to bring money in on a tax anticipation note, and that's a dedicated fund, all right? What is the difference if they use the storm or the sewer?
Well,
Because that's money we already have.
to use it as collateral is different than transferring it over to the general fund to use to pay wages. If it's used as the collateral, it has to sit there. It cannot then be transferred over to pay that
But
debt
that's
down.
money that we have currently in the bank, and that can be used, as long as it's sitting in there, as the same purpose as the storm. That's money that we didn't collect in yet. This is money that we have in our pocket.
My real concern with that money that is sitting in the bank right now is, number one, that it was brought in for the sewer system. And I believe that some research needs to be done on, does the city have any future obligations for the sewer system as it stands today since transferring it over to the sewer authority? I don't know if there is an answer to that with the agreement that you have with the Joint Sewer Authority.
So we have unknowns now.
There's
So
an unknown, at least in my belief, is there any liability that the city may have going forward with the sewer system? And if so, should those funds be maintained in the city for potential future liabilities? I don't know if anyone could readily answer that question.
maybe that's something Chris
What's
needs
the
to-
rate on those bonds that we're paying back, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my
Steve, do you
head.
know
It's
the-
about 4 something, 4.3.
And how long is left on them, and how much do we owe?
From 2005.
Yeah, how much do we owe on them? How much is left, and how much are we paying?
And the 2000 fund is a combined loan, am I not mistaken?
That is correct.
That's right. And I never got the amount, what was the portion that belonged to sewer, and we were paying quite a pretty penny into it.
Yes, you're paying about a quarter of
We
a,
were paying $284,745
Yes.
into it.
And if I could, it looks like I mean, I haven't completed an investigation of that and would need to talk to probably,
And to me, it looks like we've been paying the whole 05 bond out of sewer.
it
But
appeared, I believe the money was just being transferred out of sewer as a matter of
As
past
a matter
practice.
of, we were paying the whole amount.
Yes.
Don't.
I believe that's the way it was because
Yeah.
the money was there, and I don't
We were paying
think
the
that.
whole 05 loan out of the sewer fund.
Yes.
no.
Well,
No,
a big
absolutely.
portion of it at the beginning.
About 40 to 50% of the 2005 bond issue payments come from the sewer transmission
And
fee.
how much of the loan belongs to the sewer?
In the best that
Couldn't tell me that, Steve, so don't tell me you know. You couldn't tell me that before when I asked. Nobody could tell me that.
But I've tried to look into it, and the best, it's going to take a tremendous amount of research to look at that, but it appears that in 1993, a bond issue was floated specifically for sewer work. I'll have to find out what the money was exactly spent on. That was refinanced in 1995. The 95 bond issue ended up being absorbed into the 2005. But if we took the 95 bond issue, the payments from that through 2015 would have amounted to, from 2006, which is when the payments would have been coming from the 2005 bond. That comes out to about $2.6 million, roughly. $2.5 million would have been owed to pay that off. The sewer transmission fee has paid into that, toward that portion, $1.9 million. So there's about $600,000 worth of monies from the 95 that still have not been paid with sewer transmission fee money. Now, whether
We've been paying and paying and paying and paying out of this sewer fund for a nominal amount of money. Just because it was combined into the 05.
it was $2.9 million is not a nominal amount of money.
$284,000 for how many years now? Come on. That portion should have been well paid off.
Well, since 2006.
Am
And I don't know.
I'm right.
If we could find the information going back, it's just that I've tried to go back in the bond file that I have from when we got the information from the previous auditors, and I could only find a portion of it going back to when the bonds went into the 2005 bond series. So
It seems our sewer fund has been a cash cow, and that is not what I want to happen for the storm.
well, and that's why I'm hesitant to say take that $450,000 and just move it somewhere.
So you're hesitant to say you should do that?
I'm very hesitant to just say take that money at this point and just move it somewhere, because that's what the city continues to do every time.
So you're not recommending that we pay the bond off?
Well, I'm recommending that we find out, does the city have any liability?
Well, before we do that.
Before you do anything, and we should research and find out also what is remaining of debt, if we could narrow it down, and then at that point find out, did we take excess money from the sewer fund over the years, and where does it really go back to? And maybe we should use some of that money to return to other funds, figure out what should really happen with that money before anything is done with it. Do a proper accounting for it.
You're right.
Exactly, so we shouldn't amend the budget and move the money.
Well, this
around.
is a stupid idea.
Chris, we can't.
This is a stupid idea.
It's your idea.
I
Okay.
just,
Stupid idea.
I just think keeping the money into the, leaving it in there and not using it as anything other than just keep it where it is in the sewer fund and just don't pay down. I think that's what the overall plan was that when we sat down, was just to say, hold and find out what it is. I recommend that we at least find out from Chris, does anyone know if there's potential liability out there? And I don't know if it's an easy answer to find out.
Chris, your recommendation, it can be done, what I'm recommending.
Yeah, listen, you're doing this, let's talk about this procedurally for
You're
a
doing it
second.
against the recommendation of the auditor, just so you know.
What, amending
He's
the-
saying you shouldn't do it. He's saying the money should just stay there.
Just sit
Let's
there
let
till
Chris,
we
can
find
Chris
out.
please explain his answer?
Well,
He's our solicitor, whether you like him or not.
I'm
Go ahead.
not,
I don't.
wait a minute.
I know that.
I'm not,
You're already planning on replacing him. Go ahead.
I am not suggesting you do it or not do it, Jack. The answer to me is, can you do it? I'm saying this is first reading. You can go ahead and do it. If the mayor has an objection tomorrow, you're going to know about it quickly. And if he says you can't amend my budget, then you're going to hear about that, and we'll deal with it at the next meeting. If he consents to it, it's a moot point.
Chris, Steve, are you recommending this? Did you look at this and think this is a good idea to do?
What I would say to anyone was that there were a number of questions that would come up. There's obviously, you look if we're short of money or potentially short of money, and we have $450,000 sitting in a...
Why didn't you use this for the TAN note guarantee? Why didn't you use that money?
Pardon?
Why didn't you use that for the guarantee for the TAN note?
It potentially could be. There's a
Yeah.
potential we could borrow that money.
so
but,
let's not
but
get rid of it.
Wait, but you have to pay it back.
We know that.
You would
That's why
have
we're
to
not
have
gonna
a
get
way
rid of
to
the money.
pay. If you're borrowing from your own fund or you're borrowing from a bank, you have to have a way to pay it back, is number one. I asked, the question is, what can that money in the sewer transmission fund be used for? Is somewhat a legal question because an ordinance was passed establishing that. The other thing is, from a financial standpoint, what can be done with that? And that's where Robert would come in. So I did talk to both Chris and Robert, and I don't know, I'm not the one to say what you can do with that money and what you can't do with it because it's a legal question
Then we should wait to find out. And
Well, we'll decide that.
We'll wait to find out that. And,
You can wait. These
Yeah.
people over here don't want to wait. They
Well,
want to
you
save
can wait till
$45.
You're gone, till you're off the
Yeah, and you
board.
can fix
can
everything,
wait.
Jack.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will
we've been
fix
waiting for you to
everything.
fix everything.
I'll fix your mess.
Here we go again.
And
You created it.
And also one other item that, when you're looking at everything from back in the prior year, there's other items that, that also we had looked at as to what didn't reoccur that maybe, everyone didn't see because of the way things got accounted for. The mine reclamation money, which we all know about, but there was also the garbage fee that did not roll over that ended up getting absorbed in with the new garbage contract that the Water Authority picked up. So there was a large credit that came through into 2012.
The city did not receive.
The city did not have to pay that balance of $835,000. So that skews the view of numbers a bit. When you start to pull all these pieces together, it makes it difficult to sit where you all are and say, how do we project out how to bring money into the city and do this fair to everyone and say all the revenues are accounted for? Well, when you suddenly see this $835,000 credit number, well, it is skewing things, and it doesn't make it easy because it makes it look like you were doing that much better the year before. Well, really, you have to take that and back that number out and say, well, no, we didn't do that well. So when you start to pull it all together and say, here's where we really are, that's the best starting point. So.
But the problem is we never know where we really are. I mean, we have something on your audit that says other financing uses. That could pay for toilet paper for the city hall. What the hell do we know where it's going?
Unfortunately, that's the actual terminology that I have to use. But I will gladly explain any of the line items for you, Gene, at any time. But
I'm still waiting for the answer to my email on that one.
I will give you any of them in all line items at any time. So,
Robert,
Right now, your suggestion would be to hold off. Number one, I know what you're trying to do, Jim, and I'm not disagreeing with you, okay? I'm
Want
not.
to save people
But what
$45.
Exactly.
Tell those people
But
over there.
in the same token, if we can use that money as collateral instead of the storm as well, then why rush into it?
We're not rushing. You guys can amend it if you like. You can
are
amend it. You
rushing
just told me.
into it. We have
can
another
amend it.
budget meeting. We have, even if the budget passes exactly as is, the new council has the ability to
So
amend
let it go.
So I think that
Let them do their research and come back
go,
and tell us what we can do.
Either way you go, it's it's
withdraw your
still a good thing. If you're able to reduce the amount for the property taxes, it's a great thing. But if you find out that there's this, so either way, you're still not spending the money in either direction. So I think that the end result is going to be held somewhere.
Well, could a portion stay there and portion be used?
And I'm sure that if you're able to get an answer on what's going to happen, that's the final decision rests with all of you. But
if I could just now that if a stormwater fee amount is passed and will be implemented, it's obviously very close to the end of the year, and to send out bills and to collect that is not going to happen in this current year. To get through from a cash flow standpoint, the city now has a way to pay back any money that may be borrowed as an anticipation type situation. I don't know if it's appropriate, would be a legal thing, as Jack was mentioning, maybe is if we could maybe not even use as collateral, but could we borrow money? If we were going to borrow $300,000 from the bank, could the city borrow from this sewer transmission fund and would have to pay it back?
And repay it. And
pay
that
it back
was,
with the fees as they're collected.
That was my suggestion. Until the taxes came in, this could have possibly helped
But
us.
until the stormwater fees came in, right? Okay. And whether that can be done or not, I don't know either. I don't know.
So we'll get some researching on that. If this is whatever can be done with that money, I would like an answer by the next meeting at least. Again, we don't want to hold these people hostage for any longer than they have to. It's going forward, too. We don't pass a budget, they don't get paid for next year.
Right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
Again, I was looking at a savings of $45. From the mayor's budget, you would be saving $55. If we pass this budget, we save with our budget that was very tight, down to the wire here, $111. So any fee you would be paying this year, you're saving more next year. That was my thinking. And then again, council can decide what they want to do going forward. I was only looking out for the public. And the fact that they also are, I understand their concerns about police. This money, or some of it, at least can go towards paying police without making them pay more money, or just paying what they paid this year.
Yeah.
All right? Can't see that as a bad thing. All right, roll call? I'm sorry, we have to...
Were you still amending it?
Yeah, I'm amending. I want to still amend it I'm amending it, so do we have a second, by the way? Do we need a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
We're amending this for what you were asking for, is that what you're saying, Jim?
Yes. What number is this one? 10. It was 2013-28, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm amending the budget to move the sewer transmittal fee in, and we have a second by Mr. Shatter. Okay. Roll call on the amendment.
Motion to amend. Bass?
Motion to amend.
Yes.
Mope?
No.
Mundy?
No.
Shatter?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes. Motion, amended motion passed. Okay, we have to vote on the amended budget. Okay, Ken?
I just think we need to get this off the table and, keep the services current without an interruption in services.
Okay, roll call on the amended budget.
As amended?
As
Bast?
amended.
Yes.
And the first reading, yes.
Mope?
No.
Mundy?
No.
Shatter?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes, pass 3-2. We can go back to the, well, maybe we should get,
Yeah. we could amend it.
do we want to, we'll get these LSA people going here. Might be. Or we can just, we can go back in order, I guess. We amended it to change those two orders, and we'll go back to the beginning. Because that's the way we did it, I think. Okay. Ordinance 2013-24, we'll start at the beginning. This is a second and third reading.
I'll present.
Okay, we got this is on the pension funding. Okay, Mr. Shatter presents. I will second. Okay, on the question. Roll call.
Bast?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes.
Shatter?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes, 5-0. Third and final reading.
I'll present.
Mr. Shatter presents. I will second. On the question. No questions. Roll call.
Bast?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes.
Shatter?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes, pass 5-0. Third and final reading. Ordinance 2013-25. This is reenacting realty transfer tax provisions. And this is a second and third reading also. I'll present.
Second.
Mr. Mundy seconds. On the question, no questions. Roll call.
Bast?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes.
Shatter?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes, pass 5-0. Third and final reading.
I'll present.
Mr. Bass presents.
Second.
Mr. Mundy seconds. On the question, no questions. Roll call.
Bast?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes.
Shatter?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes, pass 5-0. Ordinance 2013-26, this is the mercantile and business privilege tax for January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, 2014. Second and third readings.
I'll present.
Mr. Bass presents. I'll second. Oh, Mr. Mundy seconds. On the question, no questions. Roll call.
Bast?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes.
Shatter?
Nope.
Perry?
Yes, pass 4-1. Third and final reading. I'll present.
Second.
Mundy seconds. On the question, no questions. Roll call.
Bast?
Yes.
Mope?
Yes.
Mundy?
Yes.
Shatter?
Nope.
Perry?
Yes, pass 4-1. New business. Okay, we're jumping to ordinance 2013-29. This is the reenacting ordinances 1931, 32, 33, with continued in force in effect for the period of January 2014 to December 2014. Real estate tax, earned income tax, per capita tax, resident tax. I'll present.
Second.
Mr. Mundy seconds. On the question? Roll call.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, your question? 2013,
second.
29? We did 28.
Yeah. I'm just
Oh, these are all,
if we're gonna reduce the budget, then is this the one that we have?
no, the
would we
next
have to
one, I
amend
think.
this?
The next one. is the debt service.
Yeah, but wouldn't the taxes be reduced as well? Which one is that one?
This is per capita tax, and the
Chris.
residence tax and the earned income tax is in here. This is earned income tax.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes. First reading.
Okay.
Ordinance
I got you.
2013-30, ordinance City of Hazleton fixing the tax rate of the real estate located in City of Hazleton. First reading. I'll present.
Second.
Mr. Mundy seconds. The question.
Is this the one that you were saying you were going to reduce, Jim?
Well, if we reduce the debt
Yeah.
service, this would have to be reduced to .85 mils.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to amend the debt service
I'll second.
to .85. Mr. Shatter seconds. Okay. Roll call as amended. Or I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
Amendment, you're going to roll call on the amendment, I'm sorry.
Okay. Motion to amend. Bast,
yes.
Mope,
No.
Mundy,
No.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yeah, yes, pass 3-2. All right. And ordinance 2013-30 as amended. Roll call.
As amended, Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
No.
Mundy,
No.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Pass 3-2, first reading. Okay, ordinance, resolution 2013-106. Request a local share account grant for DHD Really Holdings LLC, downtown Hazleton Development Project.
I'll present.
Mr. Bass presents. Will second. On the question. Roll call.
Who's second?
I second. Thank you.
I just have one
Go ahead.
question. These grants are just letting the people go forward to apply for the grants, right, Steve? We're not granting anyone any money.
No.
You have no ability to grant
Yeah, we're
anybody any
just
money.
giving them permission to apply for a grant.
We're the
And
conduit.
if I could explain briefly, I had put out to people that had asked if the city would sponsor or endorse the submission of a grant request. There were a number of people that did. The city had four grants that they would like to submit on their own behalf. There's some other parties that would like to submit. I asked some of the folks because of the number, if they could present them today. That's why we have some of the folks here, but there's still some other parties that would like some introduced also and sponsored, which would be at your next meeting.
Steve, we have applied for these ourselves over the past years. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we have we've gotten a couple in terms of equipment, I believe, right?
Well, that is something that at the meeting for the LSA grants, the people that run the program said the city can certainly, places that submit for vehicles such as dump trucks and road vehicles have a good chance to get those funded. Police cars, not as much, but in some of these other things, it depends on the merit of the program and how well they score.
And that was the spirit of the grants initially. The spirit of the grant was the gambling grant was to help the taxpayers, benefit the taxpayers, right, as a whole, the majority of people. It was also to benefit our municipalities, which means it would help alleviate or defray some of the costs and expenditures we would have for getting equipment. Now, we haven't done that. We haven't done that in a long time. This past year, the last year, which we now would put on the agenda again, was the first time I can remember in the longest time that we applied for a grant. And that was for the roof for the city garage, and that was for
The windows.
the windows here. And we have not been competing for this money. For what reason, I don't know. But that is what I intend to do this year. But I intend to make sure that the grant is used in the spirit of what it's supposed to be, for the majority of the whole, of the people, to alleviate some of your burden, all right? to have your streets fixed, to get the equipment that the garages need for this stuff, to get the equipment that our police department may need. We have to start looking out and heal ourselves as a municipality before we can help others out. I have nothing against any other individual that's going and applying for a grant, but what I'm saying is, physician, heal thyself first. Then once we're healed and fixed, we have the ability to help others. But right now, we have to look out for ourselves because we're in such bad condition. Thank you.
So we're all fighting for the same money. This pool of money is all these LSA applications are fighting the same. We're all fighting each other for that amount of money, I think. And usually what they do is they find whatever services the most people, and unfortunately it's not the citizens all the time, but they are going to good things. I mean, it's something we didn't have in the past, but okay. So let's roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
No.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes, pass 4-1. Okay. Resolution 2013-107, resolution permitting the City of Hazleton to apply for a Luzerne County Local Share Account grant on behalf of the Hazleton Little League Association.
I'll present.
Okay. Mr. Bass presents. I will second. On the question. Okay. These guys do a great job. It's been around for a long time. They've done fantastic work up there, especially with the Challenger Division. That's been around for a long time, and I think they sorely need some help up there.
Mr. President, I'm sorry if I could. One, I would have either a question or maybe a potential concern. The city applies for all of these grants. If they're awarded to the city, the party is participating. The city is responsible for, we collect the monies from the state, we pay them back out to the grantee. We also have administrative duties, so I would hope or would ask that we would ensure that in any of these grant applications there is an administrative fee that could at least cover the costs of city employees that spend time on this.
And that comes out of the grant money?
It would need to come out of the grant money to pay administrative fees are allowed, but we would need to make sure that we're able to recoup the costs that we spend. It's not a tremendous amount of time, but we do write checks, we transfer money, we do things like that. I submit the grant applications, we write the checks to submit the grant applications, and there is a minor amount of paperwork that would be submitted for any payment request. We would have to verify the receipts and the invoices that they're submitting, package them up, and I actually submit the request for payment to the state, and then we would receive payment. So there is a moderate amount of administrative time.
Have we gotten paid in the past?
We really haven't gotten to the point where we've processed. We haven't applied for the money to be refunded through the grant yet. And when we do that, we will be charging the applicants appropriately. Okay. But as long as it's included in the grant, if there's nothing in there for that, we're going to have to certainly make sure that there's a provision for the city to be able to charge that somewhat. And I would imagine in this there's an administrative line item that would. Okay. Okay. Just wanted to bring that up so it's more covered.
Any other questions?
I have one or two questions, Steve. Now, these grants, it's not automatic. It's a very small percentage get these grants.
They're probably, I think they said in Luzerne County last year, Mandy Book basically oversees the program for DCED. There are about $12 million that's available to everybody in Luzerne County for these grants. There was 96 requests last year, 96 applications. It was, I don't know the exact number, but it was over 50 or $60 million in requests.
So maybe that's like 25% or?
Probably 30%. Now, what they may do, which happened, I think there was an applicant last year that may have applied for $2 million, and they may say, we'll provide $1 million so that we can spread that out a little bit more. So they don't always fund these to the full extent. I think they try to spread as much money around as possible, and they look for projects that are cooperative in nature. If we're doing something in conjunction with another municipality, it gets points. If we're creating jobs, is a huge benefit. Any economic development
is looked at very favorably in terms of job creation and things of that sort. So all of the programs here, quite honestly, I think they, in my mind, are good projects, whether it's a development in the downtown or a recreation program, I would think would be looked at very
Honest, though,
favorably.
a lot of the jobs weren't created, a lot of the jobs were just moved around in the city, okay? We've had that happen. And another thing, too, and I agree with you, it is beneficial, and I'm not against, but we keep having the same people dip into the pool over and over again. They're the ones applying for the grants. We need to be more diverse and get it out there. Let people know that they have the ability. Like that girls softball league that was up at the podium and spoke earlier. There's not enough people that know that these things are available for them as well. And we have the same people over and over dipping into this pool.
Well, I think, last year, it looks like they funded Helping Hands. They funded the Hazleton Integration Project. Now we have a great project with the Sorrento Gardens, or whatever their new name, I apologize. The PTPA is going to asking to submit a grant also for some help them with
There's more and more every year, Steve. There's more and more people wanting to get involved.
Again...
They're also seeking grants and stuff out of the county as well. They're also using CD grants, money, CD loan money. So it's not like this is the only well that's being dipped into. What I'm saying is we have to let the people know in the city that these things are available to them, and let it be widespread so that we can help a larger amount of people.
And the state DCED office would receive these applications. They score them. They apply scores to it based on the criteria of job creation and economic development and some of those various things. And those scores then are turned over. I'm not sure who makes the final selection, but it's something that certainly is out of our hands here locally.
Exactly.
And we'll see. But
okay, roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
No.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes, pass 4-1. Resolution 2013-108, resolution for the appointment of a sewage enforcement officers for the City of Hazelton in accordance with regulations of Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. I'll present.
Second.
Mr. Mundy seconds on the question.
These people have certifications. Do these people work in any municipality as we speak, or?
We've had them before. I think we've had them before, am I right? Are they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right.
this is very rarely used in the city. They primarily deal with septic systems. So in rural areas, they do a lot of work here. It's not very often that there would be a call for them.
Okay, roll call.
Stinks.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes, pass 5-0. Resolution 2013-110. Resolution permitting City of Hazelton to apply for LSA share account grant from behalf of Sorrento Gardens. I will present.
I'll second.
Mr. Bass seconds. Question? No questions, roll call.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
No.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes, pass 4-1. Resolution 2013-111, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the Slessor Law Firm related to the Slessor Law Firm's confirmation as city solicitor. I will present.
I'll second.
Mr. Bass, or Mr. Shatter seconds, I'm sorry. On the question.
I have a question. We've never done this before, right, Chris? This is the first we're going to ever do this.
I can't answer that. I don't
Jack,
know.
if you want to
Isn't it usually done yearly?
Well, the appointment was done in June.
Yeah.
The purpose of this is twofold. It reflects the new fee agreement, which actually is a reduction in my rate. So because it's a reduction in the rate, I thought it appropriate to present this to council now. And secondly, it addresses an IRS concern that we spoke about earlier, to ensure that there's no question that I'm serving as an independent contractor rather than an employee.
Well, that shouldn't be our problem. That's your problem.
You can look at it however you'd like.
Well, the other thing in there, it says it's tying our hands for 2 more years till the end of the mayor's term. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that the code says that. That language that's in there, Jack,
I've never seen this before. This is my 12th year. I'm going into my other. I've never seen this before.
then you haven't
So
read
if
the
you're saying,
then you haven't read the code, because the language that's in that section is directly lifted from the
so
code.
you're saying
verbatim.
that when a mayor appoints or a council approves, it's for 4 years. That's what you're
Yes.
saying. It's not yearly.
The solicitor serves for the duration of the term of the mayor. We had that discussion at the last meeting. We discussed this at June. We had the same discussion, and I gave you the same answer.
We've appointed solicitors every year in the past.
Jack, that hasn't been the case since I've been here between my service with Connie Favello when I was still working with him
Well,
to now. It's been, 12 years? I don't recall you appointing solicitors every year, quite frankly. That wasn't the case when Connie was here. And in fact, if you go back that period of time, the hourly fee at that point was $140 per hour. If you'd like me to increase the rate, I'd be happy to. But I thought that the reduction in rate would be a
the fee
welcome.
isn't my problem. The fee isn't my problem. The problem is this is a contract to the end of the mayor's term.
The code the code provides
The code
for that,
is
Jack.
saying
it's
that.
not this document that does it, it's the code. And I'll be happy to review that section with you.
Could you send it to me? Email it to
Absolutely.
me.
You bet.
Okay, excuse me. The mayor's been on 2 years now. Okay, why did it take him 2 years to appoint you, and why did it take him 2 years to set your salary?
I can't answer the first one, but the second question, Jeannie, I can tell you this is at my request because of the reduction for those two purposes I stated earlier.
I understand that, but now don't you think we should, follow the code? If we're going to follow the code now, we should have followed the code back then?
I can't speak for the mayor, Jeannie.
But you're the solicitor. You should have brought it up.
This isn't your request?
When
Chris?
this
isn't your request?
this
This
resolution
someone
is.
else's. This is your request?
This resolution is.
Okay.
Okay?
That's just because he wants to get Peter O'Donnell as a city solicitor, that's all.
We got jobs already promised already, boy. It's amazing.
So the three puppets are deciding.
Got to
are
Jack,
deciding for 2 more
Jack,
years.
we don't need retreads. We need new tires on this
So the three
operation.
puppets are deciding.
No.
Because you don't like him. You liked him before when Mayor Barletta was here, but now you don't like him because of the mayor. I think it's the solicitor is a solicitor for anybody who's here.
Well, the solicitor should be up to the new council that's coming in.
No,
You should
Jack,
work
you
that
can't
way.
have that.
And
You
you
can't
said,
have that.
You
You
said
might
you
want
would
to
let
read
us
the
make
third-class
decisions.
city
Well,
code,
go ahead,
Jack.
make
You
the
sat here
decision.
for
Said you
12
would let
years, and you're
incoming
still an
council
idiot.
make decisions, and now you're
You
changing your mind.
can't. He's telling you you can't. Well, I'm not telling you can't. You can't.
And you see why nothing gets done in this town.
Now, wait, if the mayor...
God bless the rest of the 4 years. Okay. Let's roll call.
No, yes.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Sorry, Chris, not after that remark from Keith, no.
Mundy,
No.
What's it to do with
Shatter,
that?
Yes.
Perry.
Yes, 3-2. What does that have to do with anything? Okay. Resolution 2013-112, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with the
Terrible.
Convergence Communications LLC related to the products and services contract. Okay. Wireless surveillance camera system. I will present.
I'll second.
Mr. Bass seconds. On the question.
Steve, what are we doing here?
Okay. Chief, you want to, this is the camera system?
I didn't know if you said Keith or Chief, I'm sorry.
Chief, yep. Chief.
I didn't hear what the question is.
This is based on the camera system that is going to go through community development for Alter Street. Is that
Correct, it's for the city. It's
City, but-
Right, it's the community development money that's been set aside that we initially put the RFP out in 2012. No one bid it. We put it back out in 2013. We then went through community development to get the approval of the vendor, which is Convergys. And the final step before we start to purchase stuff is to present the contract to City Council for approval, and then once it's executed between the city and Convergys, we order the equipment. Once the equipment's in, because we're dividing our money from 2013, the stuff that was rolled over, and 2014, we're allowed to spend up to 50%, purchase the equipment, so there's an upfront cost. That will allow us very quickly, before December 31st, to purchase the back, I call it the backside hardware, the network video recorders, the cameras, the transmitters, the monitor for City Hall, and then next year, with the 2014 money, the installations go into place so that we're able to use both the existing money, not lose it, and next year.
I have a question. Is this going to be compatible with what we have, like as far as our other
100%.
Okay, now the other thing, will this correct the problem that we've had with the transmission of the,
That's an interesting question. I understand. I think I understand where you're going. And here's how I have to be very cautious on answering that. There is no federal guideline, federal government allowance for maintenance. So if I go back and try and fix something that's existing, it would be illegal to spend the money on that. However,
will it correct the problem that we've had? If they're both compatible, if they're transmitting a signal for this system, will it also transmit the same signal that they'll now receive back and forth images from the other system, the first system as well?
hypothetically, it's possible. Figuring out how to do it that is legal is the issue. It might take some working with the businesses, but the way that this has been structured in a perfect world will be that these new system transmitters are going to set up a wireless mesh network in the city, and then any camera on our network that hits that can transmit its signal to City Hall. And sometimes the signal's going to have to go south to come back north, but it's going to be this network over the city. If we can work with the existing cameras to get a new part purchased and use that to transmit the signal, we haven't spent any money on fixing the old system, yet the old system now transmits on the new network, and it would be legal. So my answer is, what I did with the RFP is made sure that the software that we spec'd out is the exact software we were using. So we don't need new software. We're using the old GeoVision software. The cameras that were in existence are compatible with the network video recorders. The existing network video recorders are compatible with the new ones. So basically, we're adding to a system by putting in a new one, but the city is 100% the owner. And so there can't be any finger pointing of, are you supposed to fix my backside or your front side? How does that work? We'll be in control of everything, and I truly believe that this will not only give us an excellent system moving forward, but will allow us to incorporate the old system into this.
Okay, thank you.
You're
That's
welcome.
I have one quick question. Chief, who's Convergence? Where are they from?
They're from Hazleton.
Yeah.
Right. Convergys is Bob Bartholomew. Bob Bartholomew is the person who, I'm going to say fortunately for us, does all of the communications for the police department right now, and also for Luzerne County 911. So he works on our police cars, our police portable radios, and he does the Luzerne County end of communications for us. So bringing him into the mix to do one more type of wireless communications, and him being the winning vendor, was a plus for us because he's local.
And he's done this in other cities?
That's correct. Okay. That was one of the requirements, was that they had to produce to us not only references and financials, but they had to provide to us other cities at least this size that they've done it for.
What other cities were they? Do you remember?
I don't have the contract with me, and I'm sorry, but I know that he is in multiple cities in I think at least 2 states.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
And Chief, sorry.
Yeah, you realize you have Sylvia on the edge of her seat here.
I know that. I cannot finally wait till it comes to fruition, and we're putting cameras on Alter Street to start. Not only Alter Street. But as promised.
You have a date of when that might happen?
Yeah.
Tentative date?
I'm anticipating that we purchase the equipment prior to December 31st and within the springtime, and I'm going to have to wait until, I'm going to say February, March to get started because of the cold weather. During the springtime, we're installing cameras throughout the city.
And Chief, the way that this network is set up should be more reliable than the old one?
Yeah, for a lot of reasons, but yes.
Okay.
No, Chief.
This won't interfere with personal,
No.
a home, so we're not picking up somebody who's carrying the
No.
groceries in the
No,
house.
we're not.
Of their own system.
It won't interfere at all.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Roll call?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes. Passed 5-0. Resolution 2013-113, a resolution requesting local share account funds for the City of Hazleton's municipal garage.
I'll present.
Mr. Bass presents.
I'll second.
Nope. Seconds. On the question? No questions? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes. Passed 5-0. Resolution 2013-114, resolution requesting local share account funds for City Hall, windows and masonry facade in City Hall due to deterioration. $700,000.
I'll present.
Ms. Moak presents.
I'll second.
Mr. Bass seconds. On the question? No questions? Roll call?
Bast,
Yes.
Mope,
Yes.
Mundy,
Yes.
Shatter, Perry.
Yes. Passed 5-0. This concludes the business portion of our meeting. Comments from the audience, please. And stick to comments. Thank you very much. Here.
Judy Urcho, Hazleton. You guys passed the SOAR. Now, Mr. Perry, you said you wanted to save me $45 on my home, but you're going to pass a SOAR bill that's going to probably cost me $120.
Well, what size property are you looking at there?
I'm a single home. I've got a full lot, and probably that's
$26.
Well, I mean, even if it's $25, which you're saying that's going to be the minimum.
I'm saving you, then you're still saving money.
Dominic, I thought a half a lot was $26.
No.
No, half a lot
13.
is
13.
But even so, I mean, you're charging me $100, and then you're saving me $45.
No.
Well, that's what the SOAR bill is going to be, isn't it? It's going to come 4 times a year?
No, one time.
4 times a year,
One
Dominic,
time.
or once?
One time.
Once, a one-time fee. That's it.
Yes.
And it's going to be, what are you going to do with these properties that are like double lots, people who have businesses? I mean, you're going to end up chasing businesses away. That's what I'm afraid of. You've got, how much of a tax is going to go on Hazleton General? How much of a tax is going to go on?
In the thousands.
Yeah.
That'll be thousands.
Yeah.
Are they going to stick around
They
with
can
these
afford
kind
to
of?
pay us a couple thousand. They made $11 million last year. I think they can pay us a couple thousand.
I understand that, but what about the small businesses? I mean, you're targeting
Everybody.
yeah.
Would you like them to pay 0 and you pay 50, or would you like to pay 26 and they pay something?
I would like you guys to, when you're doing a budget, not to go and spend money that you don't even have.
Yeah.
That's what I would like. This is the problem. You guys going, I'll just spend this money because eventually I'll get it out of the taxpayers. I don't want to pay any more taxes. That's what I don't want to do. You guys raised it. We paid our taxes, 87% was that we got? Because when I got my tax bill this year, and I looked at it and I went, holy crap, like, I can't believe this.
43%.
43, still.
Yeah. If you think about that, if you have a $100,000 assessed house, your value is costing you $37.59 a month I don't think too many
Why
bills we
does
have
it,
in our house.
why
They're
does it always have to
37.59.
come from the taxpayers? Why does it always have to come from the homeowners?
I think you have to complain to your county because they're charging you a lot, and so your school district charging a lot.
Oh, I understand the school district. Yo, trust
Then
me, I'm not real happy with them
The city's
either.
smallest amount is giving you services, so.
But you people, you're not listening. Nobody wants this tax, and you guys still pass it. And the mayor, I want to kick his butt for not being here because of the fact that he doesn't seem that this is important. People don't want this tax, and you guys passed it. And Steve, I asked you twice at 2 previous meetings, were we in the black? You said yes. You told me twice, yes, we were in the black. There's a number of people that heard you say that. You also told me when I said, how could we be in the black if we were supposed to have a $500,000 storm fee and we were supposed to have a $200 timbering fee if that was figured into the budget? You told me it wasn't. You told me we were right on schedule for the end of the year. How come now we're short? And then how come now the jobs are threatened for the city workers?
I told, at the time I was asked, everybody here had that financial report. You probably had a copy of it also, that we were in the black if the revenues were exceeding the expenditures.
How many people were here at the meeting when I asked if we were in the black?
We're not taking polls. Just give us your comment.
I'm just saying.
Not taking polls. If you don't believe them, that's fine. Finish up.
But I asked
But
you.
that was asked, it wasn't asked today, it was asked some time ago in the...
It was asked 3 meetings ago. It was in October, end of
Yeah, well-
October, and you said, we're right on schedule, we're going to be in the black.
I said we were in the black. I'll give you the report that shows that we were in the black.
How could we be in the,
All
and
right.
I said, how could we be in the black if we have a $500,000 fee? You
Because-
said it wasn't in the budget.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
revenue
We got to get
exceeded
some other
the
comments in here.
expenses at that time. The revenue exceeded the
Okay.
expenses.
I think people want answers on that.
Comment period.
Comment
I
period.
just gave you an answer.
Discussion?
That's
Comment.
fine. Kevin, Jim, people talked, and like you guys keep voting one way, and people want change, and you're not going to be here. And like I like you guys personally, but apparently like the city doesn't want it. And Mr. Bast, I'd watch the way you vote because people are watching and they want to know what's going on, and they want change. They don't want the same thing over and over and over again, and we don't want new taxes. So that's the only thing I'm concerned
Thank
about.
you. Chief, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I recognize that these are trying times, but in the beginning, one of the comments was, why don't we lay off department heads? I can't speak for anybody's grand plan, but I'm fortunate enough to be a department head that will not be laid off because I will work without a salary. But I need to commend publicly every member of my department because we polled the department and there has not been, the union has not balked at this, and we polled the department. And when we realized that we might only get 1 week's pay last time this discussion took place, 13 of us opted to give up that week's pay, which are the people at our top end of our pay scale, so that the people at the lower end of the pay scale could get 2 weeks' pay to pay their bills. And I am just so proud of every member of this police department because there is not one person who said they were going to call in sick, they were going to take personal days or try to do anything, and every one of them without question said that the city will not have any interruption in service. And publicly I would like to commend every member of this police department because it is not easy to think that you're going to go through December without being paid, yet they haven't even broke stride. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Helen, go ahead.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Unless, maybe I heard wrong, but this stormwater fee, it's a one-time event, or is it
Once a
every
year.
Oh,
Once,
okay.
well, I mean, it's up to the next council to continue it or remove it. That would be what
Okay.
they have an opportunity to do.
With all the money that's collected, you know.
It would have to be earmarked specifically for storm
Okay,
water.
nothing else.
No.
As far as,
Am I right?
as
Well,
far
we
as
would
the law
hope,
goes right now.
but that doesn't always
Okay,
happen,
good.
Helen.
Thank you. Next.
Dee Deacus, Hazleton. There's a couple things I found kind of odd. Right now, we have some extra money from the sewer transmission fee from previous years. But did that sewer transmission fee also cover stormwater? It was all the sewers.
Yes,
So the fact that you could use that money because it was already earmarked for storm. You just don't have the other half of it. So you're not using it properly. Second is we're talking about having to have collateral for a $500,000 loan, and they call it a tax anticipation note. They don't call it a fee anticipation note. They call it a tax anticipation note or a TAN. And they borrow based on your real estate taxes, not just the storm sewer fee. You know, I think it's just bad PR that he's trying to scare everybody that we can't borrow $500,000. We were borrowing $3 million when we were really mismanaged. So now all of a sudden we can't borrow $500,000. The next thing is fees are done by ordinance and not by resolution. So, you know, it's nice we have a solicitor, but how come he's not pointing out that should have been an ordinance? Because anything that we charge is by ordinance. And I'm really disappointed that he didn't bring that up. But of course, that would mean you would have to have a second meeting to have second and third reading. But these are some of the things that I'm really, you know, why have all these things happen? And the scare tactic, when we had that extra money from the storm sewer, not from the storm, but from the sewer transmission fee. And the other part is we're now talking about owing money on a bond. If I'm not mistaken, when the sewer took it over, they took over all the bond obligations for the sewer system. So now how come we have this obligation yet? And if they didn't, you guys really negotiated a bad contract, which again is administrative. So
That was done by council in 2009, or when that was voted on, was that agreement, was in 2009.
But what it was they had it that they were going to pay all the loans that were outstanding from the bonds. And
That should have been figured out.
that should have been figured out. And, you know, this is what our administrator is supposed to do, our mayor. You know, what is he doing up in his office other than trying to scare the whole town that we won't have police and such?
Next.
While Grace is coming up, let me just make one comment on Dee's comment, if I may. That is that you've already got an ordinance in place with regard to the establishment of the fee concept, and it provided for the fee to be set by, I believe, administration and then approved by council. So the resolution was appropriate.
Oh, if that would be appropriate, how would you, if I don't pay it, what would be the penalty? How can you penalize me for not abiding to a resolution? I just asked that question. But since you said that, how are you going to penalize me?
There's an ordinance in place that provides for that resolution, an ordinance that previously passed.
Right, yeah, I remember Steve was supposed to review it and present council with a plan on how to adopt a fee. But the fee was put in place. I'm just saying, how could you actually penalize me? It made sense to me. If you would say, like, you could do it, maybe we'll try it out, Chris. Can anybody tell me what happened with this approximately $700,000 sewer transmission fee money?
That we started out with.
Well, we only have, what, approximately 450? Is that correct?
I think Mr. Moore addressed that earlier, that was a beginning.
Well, he didn't say where it went.
I know, he's here.
Well, I don't know. Where did it go?
Pardon?
Where did the money go? It had to go into some account.
He's right here. I don't know if he's prepared to be able to address that particular.
You can discuss that later if you want, but you can comment if you need to continue.
All right. If someone here can't accommodate for $750,000, we've all got a big problem. And that's all I really need to say after that one. You can't tell me where $750,000 went. And I don't care how many times you met with anybody. Every one of you should be able to tell me where that money's at. And that's a shame.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mark?
Mark Rabo, First Street, Hazleton. I think tonight and previous meetings have shown that the city council and the administration needs to have an independent, non-political city controller that's full-time, that can work with both the administration and council to show where the money's going, what accounts being transferred from, and that can explain to the people and the city employees what's coming in, where the money's going. Okay, this is ridiculous. I mean, last year we had a budget crisis. This year we have a budget crisis, and it's all man-made, and because there's miscommunication and nobody knows where anything's going. For what? Because we all have to, just find some way to pay for a pet project here and to throw away money there. I mean, at whose expense? At all the people's expense. Just, if you're going to go by the code, and that's another thing. You say you're going to go by the code, Mr. Solicitor, but there's no code. Every time there's a piece of the code that, the third-class city code that, is an, inconvenience, there's a way the administration finds a way to circumvent it, okay? This third-class city code wasn't by the state so that, municipalities can find a way to circumvent everything, okay? Because somebody wants to be a supreme leader or somebody wants to be, the cock of the walk, okay? Just follow if you're going to go by the book, go by the book, all right? And also, as far as with the city controller, you guys have that on the books. You can reappoint somebody. It was done before the previous two mayors. You could do it now. I mean, now would be a good time. All right? Thank you very much, and it's good to be back.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
You surprised me, gentlemen. Oh, my name's Ludwig Mangini, 24 Franklin Street. We had 15 resolutions come up. 7 of them you all agreed on. It shows we got a chance. Just start cooperating. And I got one other question. Do you have work sessions? No. Or won't you communicate? Are you grown? I know you're grown, educated men. Let's start acting like a grown, educated man, and let's start running this city so it's an example for the rest of the cities. I know, nod your head, yeah, but action speaks louder than any words. Right. I know we have a new council coming in. I hope they have the reasoning to start cooperating. Let your egos at the door. You come in here, you work for the city of Hazleton. You work for the fine people of the city of Hazleton. These are great people, and they were all brought up by great people. Thank you. I don't want to extend my 3 minutes.
You're good. Thank you very much. Okay. Dean, comments from council?
Thank you for sitting through this night. It was a long one for everybody, and we appreciate some of the people had a miscommunication and actually been here since 5 o'clock. And for that, we apologize, but we're glad that you stuck around for the meeting. I would like to say thank you to everybody that stayed on board and the volunteers, like the police chief said, as far as the police officers offering to stay on board without pay. Thanks to the city garage workers, they were going to tough it through in all our departments. But what I want to express is, and the reason I voted no on those LSA grants was nothing personal, nothing to do with anything personal at all. I believe that we have to really start working on getting things done for the city, applying for the city, and maybe it was in protest at this point, I don't know what to call it, but if we don't start getting our city healed, we can't help anybody else. We can't help the Little League. We can't help anybody, because guess what? We're in a serious condition, and we're going down. And we have to really start focusing on healing ourselves so that we have the ability to help and heal you. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for coming.
Jack?
Chief, I have a question. I have a notice of a violation from someone. Maybe you could take a look at it. I don't know, maybe you talked to her earlier. I took a ride by, and I have some pictures, which maybe I could forward email to you, but I looked at it, and it didn't look like it has to. Are there many of these violations out there, these painting ordinances, or making people paint their homes?
It's a good question. I wish I would have known about this before tonight.
Okay, but...
I can't answer your
so
question.
Okay.
Right.
Does that violation, is that a normal procedure that you send out to people, that form?
A notice of violation, yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
normal?
Yes.
And that's not quality of life?
No, it's not quality of life. It's the IPMC.
Okay. Could you,
Go ahead.
the person that sent that, does he send many out, or how many of those do you send out a week or a month?
Again, I can't answer that question because it's the first time I'm...
Okay.
And I don't want to make it... This morning,
Yeah.
I learned of this, but didn't have time to go there thinking I was going to be questioned on it. I don't know how many are sent out by code enforcement per individual or per month. But I do know that we're about to send out another ton of these for violations, and I had to have the NOV approved.
Well, did you see on there where I circled, they have,
Yes.
it has to be done May 21st
right.
of 2014, and then after that, it's 21 days. Which is it, or why do they have that on there? Why would you have 21 days in May? Why do you have two different dates of when someone has to do that work? Is that a misprint, or?
You ready?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Normally, an NOV is 21 days. That's the IPMC standard. Why it says 21 days and extended it to May, I can't answer that. I didn't type this up. I would believe that it's because you can't paint your house in the wintertime, and so they meant to give her an extension and forgot to take the 21 days out. But that would end up being more of a, I'd have to call the solicitor's office and say, can we do the May 20th, 2014? I don't have an answer for you right now.
I've had some other people look at it, people that have 30 years in code enforcement,
Right.
and they said it doesn't have to be painted.
Okay.
And across the street and down the alley, there's no paint, there's no peeling,
Right.
there's no cracking. It's asbestos siding.
Right.
It looks maybe faded,
Yeah.
but faded isn't in
Right.
the ordinance to paint your house.
And this morning, when I learned about this, I asked one very simple question of my code enforcement officer. According to the IPMC, is it a violation? The answer was yes.
He said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, according to the IPMC, if it is a violation, then I can't chastise somebody for following the rules.
Look at the pictures or look at the house?
No. I asked one simple question of code enforcement.
Okay.
According to the IPMC, is this house in violation?
Okay.
The answer is yes. Now, again, by the letter of the law, it seems to be in violation. So my response is that that's what the judicial branch of government would be for, and the recourse is not to tell code enforcement to pick and choose who they cite, but to tell the person who was
Wait,
cited
back up. I'm not
to go to
saying
the
pick and
judge.
choose who to cite. I'm saying they cited a house that should not be cited.
That's
I'm
according
not
to
saying
you.
they pick and choose anyone.
All right, Jack, these are questions
But-
that could deal
right,
with
what I'm
any
saying
day.
is-
This is not the time for this. You can deal with this any day.
Well, we have the person who owns
No.
the house in the
Well,
audience.
then they can deal with that. I mean, this is...
I thought she was going to speak, but that's okay.
I already spoke with her.
I'll speak on her behalf,
Right.
and
You could see the
And-
chief. I
and
mean,
if-
that's the person you want to see. if you
maybe
wanna
she
see the
wants to
chief.
speak now.
Okay.
Do you want me? or her?
Yeah, why don't you, if you guys want to talk, I mean, that's...
You want to go in private?
But, yeah. Well,
This is the home on the half a block of me.
okay. I mean, like I said, that, yeah, I believe you. That's...
I was violated. I had a violation. He
Okay.
did.
All right. Well, that's
The
that's
one on
where...
the other half of me did not have a violation. I feel that's discrimination.
The other
Well,
half
you
of the
have
house.
recourse.
73 years old.
You have recourse. I mean, the chief will...
Ma'am, would,
Make sure somebody sends an NOV tomorrow.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Chief,
Would you rather talk in the chambers about
and,
this?
And you're right. I can't argue that that house is also clearly in violation,
Yes.
and it needs an NOV. You're right.
You know, and that's why I was upset. And
Should
then
be.
why was I pointed out in all these other homes, right on my same block?
Sure you can
has
find a lot
not
of them.
been
cited,
And,
violated.
and my explanation is, that's where I often say,
Is it
thank
because I
God
pay
for
my
Joe Zola.
taxes on time?
Because,
Well, okay,
Go ahead.
okay, that's one thing. That's where it'll go to Joe Zola?
yeah,
Pardon me?
If she appeals
that's
it?
correct.
Okay. No, it doesn't go to Joe Zola. It goes to the appeals board.
What appeals board?
It's a UCC.
No. Right. The way that it works
All right,
is that what we do now, the NOV, when someone fills out the quality of life ticket, it's going to come back and it's going to turn into a non-traffic citation, and it's going to go to the magistrate. And the magistrate is who hears the cases for the city, and that's where it goes. And the magistrate will hear, and again, if the magistrate sees it the same as you, which he very well might, she's not guilty and it doesn't have to be
Well,
painted.
I'm saying, okay, so that's the way it has to be. And so
Correct.
these people that do the sightings, you're saying they're always right. They're not wrong.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it's everyone's right to a hearing, and they can take that. But my first question becomes my only question when I ask code enforcement, according to the IPMC, is this a violation? And the answer was yes. If the answer was no, I would have said, then we really need to void that ticket. But the answer is not no, because according to the IPMC, it's a violation. Therefore, the ticket goes in front of a magistrate. That's all.
Excuse me, Frank, I was up by her house. I took a look.
Right.
Her house is great. I'm telling you right
Sure.
now. You take a look. The painting is faded, but asbestos siding does fade. This woman, and I know for a fact, she's a catechism teacher, and besides all of that, she put money into a sewer system a few years ago because it was combined for that other half of the house. He gave her a hard time. Number two, she replaced the roof last year and the retaining wall, which cost $7,000. This woman maintains her property. This year, she spent $1,000 on a bay window because it was shot out either by a gun or a BB gun. All right, this woman maintains the property, and when you look around at all the eyesores around her property, you tell me why he happened to pick hers. Does he need glasses?
I can't answer these questions, but what I could tell you is that I'll send code enforcement back to the neighborhood, and if there's other houses that need NOVs, they'll receive
One right
them.
across her house, $5.99. The paint's
I
peeling
just
right
assigned
off.
that.
Peeling right
Right.
off.
I just assigned that, just when I learned about it. And this is how it normally works, is that someone contacts somebody who's in charge and says, hey, we got a problem, go to this neighborhood.
Maybe they should talk to them, because I'm telling you right now, she's a widow on a fixed income. She's been maintaining her property,
Okay.
even for a point where it wasn't her fault that the window was shot. How much money do you think they can put out, and then you have a nerve to give her a violation for paint, when hers looks probably like a castle
Right.
next to most of them?
I'm sure it'll
And
be taken
I'm not
care
arguing with you. I'm
Thank you.
simply saying, according to the law, the house is in violation. Right.
But now, let him go and take a look, and if she's
At
got
the
to
other
let
ones.
Joe, let Joe.
Sure. You write on the.
All right, thank you very much. I will.
Like I said.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is all I got.
Right.
I didn't get a ticket or anything.
My ceiling's falling down.
Yeah.
Could I please have
Yeah.
a code violation?
I suggest in January you move your
Making
seat.
too much noise. Thank you very much. You're a very good Eucharistic minister, too. So he's my Eucharistic minister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Finished comments here from. We'll get rolling here.
I just have one
Go
other
ahead.
comment.
Okay, thank you.
You know,
Get it in my hair.
thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I'm done. We're done.
I'd like to see that.
Sure. The only other comment I have is about the stormwater fee. I mean, it was originally in the budget. I mean, I was against it from the beginning, and it should have been passed earlier from the people that wanted it in the budget and had the spending in the budget. Would we, the following year, come up with maybe something to lower to replace it? I don't know, and that's a possibility. But you know, what they did now was only to put it to 1 year, which leaves next year's budget. I mean, Steve's going to have to redo the budget because it's not in there now. So the budget that is passed, you're going to have to redo, and we'll be amending it. As far as the sewer, the thing with the sewer, that was just games. And you know, John Keegan originally,
Jack, will you please? Ridiculous.
When I
Let
was
it
here
go.
a year and a half ago, he
Let it
proposed
go.
that these people pass a resolution that I couldn't ask questions.
You got to
of the
see
mayor
Dr. Phil. You
and
got
council.
problems.
That was he wanted to pass and they wanted to pass it until they read it. They wanted to pass a resolution. I couldn't ask questions of the mayor,
here
department
we go,
heads,
Jack. Come
and the
on.
people couldn't ask questions. That was a resolution. I have it. I'll give it to anybody that wants to see it.
Okay, Jack. All
But
right.
but I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know how the standard speaker's going to print it. But this is a ploy to make a mess of the city's finances, and they have made a mess. Number one, by not passing that storm fee in the beginning, which it should have been passed.
Because they had it in the budget. That's the only reason.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks for everyone coming out late tonight. It's 9:30, and usually meetings are over at 9:30 when we start at 5:30. But it's nice to see that this many people come out to meetings. I wish that all the meetings there'd be more people, that we would fill this place, and I get more people to come out to things. I had there are a lot of things that I had considered over the past couple of days, and that's why I'd come in here to meet with some people and see what we could iron out. And I voted for the first reading of the budget, just for the simple fact that there's a possibility we could give people, lower the millage rate on the real estate, the property tax on people. So I think that's an avenue worth considering. If that's the possibility, then let's take it. And so that's why I had voted for that way. And if we would have had to force layoffs, the city probably would have wound up having to pay more money, because there would have been lawsuits. Unions would have had to file grievances. They would have received back pay plus interest, and so in the end, it would have been more expensive to lay off anyone. And voting for this now, it's a package deal, and I think that with the possibility of lowering the millage, like I said, it's an avenue worth considering. I would like the council to consider having a budget meeting, moving forward. Is that no?
Yeah, I guess they're having their own meetings.
We'll have on January 7th. You could attend.
But
that
see, this is why. This is
the way you
this
work,
is,
Jack.
This
That's
is
the
why.
way you work.
This is why we need budget meetings. This is why we need to sit here and talk about things, because we just can't keep on getting threatened with layoffs. And if you can't sit here and talk about things, then how good could it be? At least if we came out, and I thought that we should have had a meeting once the mayor said that there were going to be layoffs, because people's, like I've said earlier, people's livelihoods were at stake, and I think that being here, for the people, that we should have been here.
The layoffs were your fault because you didn't put that money
Jack,
in the budget.
you're done. You're done. Go ahead.
They're your fault. You're blaming
Go ahead.
layoffs on the mayor.
We all had an opportunity to present ideas.
Jack wants to sell land. That's going to be in next year's budget. Go ahead.
I'd also like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's a lot more people than usual. And I've put a lot of consideration into a lot of things over the last week and a half. And like Kevin said, that this was kind of a package deal, and I thought that reducing taxes and people being able to pay less money next year than they did this year was a good thing.
Obviously not.
But some people don't think so. So that's why I voted for both the stormwater ordinance and the budget, because you would pay less next year than you did. That's all.
All right.
Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you. Junior council, we have a couple people left already. I thank you for staying and understanding our government being involved. I think you guys you deserve a round of applause for that, but thank you so much. But do you guys have any comments you'd like? Again, this is the end of the year. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I hope you can absorb a lot of this and And you're certainly welcome to comment anytime you want to any of us, to Lisa, through Lisa, or you have our emails too. So you guys want to say anything? Go ahead, Joel. Got homework. Exactly.
But I am going to say this. This is your job, and charging the citizens of Hazleton is going to solve it, but that's not going to make us really happy. It's just like you committing murder and me covering up for you.
It's a little jump on the extreme.
It's just an example. I know you won't commit murder. But that's really all I have to say. The fact that this budget really probably needs to be dealt with immediately because I'm assuming money doesn't just go away.
Thank you. All right. Just to finish up a couple things. Again, the intent here was this fee originally was now in half of what it was originally. So if we would have passed it earlier, it may have been costing more money. Again, it's essentially, it's going to go to something that's going to be a service. It's not going to be something out there. So the intent was, in looking at this money, I'm saying, why would we charge people money when there's $450,000 sitting there? Why not apply it some way, either police or lowering their taxes? I can't see how that can be a negative. All right? How can that be a negative? I don't understand that. But we have two people who don't want you to lower your taxes for next year.
Why didn't you
Jack,
use that money
I'm
for
done.
stormwater?
It's sewer money. It's sewer money.
Stormwater fee. We'll use
Jack,
that money instead.
again, can I?
Do that?
Come on, you're like a disruptive student I have in class.
Well,
Be
that's
quiet.
Too bad.
I'm turned.
Too
My
bad.
turn. You had your chance. Okay? All right. See, again, this is what we have. You can't speak because they want to shout you down. Shouting is not going to do it. Okay? This is an answer. If you don't like it, obviously you want people to pay more taxes.
Yeah, that's what
that
you
was
think.
again.
That's what Keegan told
that
you.
was
That's why
sewer
you
money.
voted.
Oh, Jack,
Keegan
come
told
on.
you how to vote.
Jack,
You
this
went to-
all
you
you
had a meeting with him
do.
and he told you what to do.
Jack, come on now.
That's
See,
what he told
this is
you
what
what
you
to
do.
do.
People are tired of your.
Keegan
They're
puppet.
they're tired
Good
of your
riddance.
games. You see, people don't want to hear you. There
Yeah,
you
good
go.
riddance.
They
Well,
don't
then
want
go. I
good
wanna
riddance.
go
You hear
too.
what he said to you?
I
Good
want to go
riddance.
too.
He told you good riddance. Amazing. So we're trying to save you some money. Here's a guy who doesn't want you to save you money. He doesn't have an answer.
Gentlemen, they're walking out on you.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes.
I hope you get it, but
what I was trying
thing up, they usually chop into 250.
Different place where it's doing state.
Yeah. But it's a competitive thing. It's, what you do is maybe send Johnny Deechek a letter or just tell him that you have to get people on his little. That's sewer money. If you go to sewer, we can use it for. No, you'll be fine. We'll don't worry. We'll take care of it. You're going to be fine. I looked at your house. Don't worry.
Okay, how are you? Do you want some of these? Do you need some? Because she gave me all these extra ones, and I don't know what to. Let's see, there's 1, 2, there's 3 handouts, so you can have that. You're welcome. Hello. Yes.
He doesn't know.
Let's put it out there like this.
Yeah, you gotta go. Yeah. Or unless he said. Right. Yeah, right here, Mike. It says what it says the Board of Appeals. What is that? Here. Well, doesn't it go there? Where does it go? How does it go to zoning? Okay, then it's a zoning. Why doesn't she just apply to the Board of Appeals? Well, I'll help her clear an application.
I printed out a chart. This is the rate we're using.
You should get Ludwig on it.
Yeah, yeah.
This is when we collect that 100%. Here we
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know. I want a copy of all his violations. Yeah.
I love you a whole big bunch.
Oh, you too.
Thank you.
Be careful now.
I know. I will.
But he emailed me the form. Or there's a form. I mean, nobody appealed? Yeah.
Next year now,
Not